Mark, let's move on then to education.
Ties into Matt Truella's presentation on the doctrine of the lesser magistrates in a sort of tangential way. This headline from Fortune, it's not just the office people don't want to go to, kind of an odd headline. It's not just the office people don't want to go to. COVID looks to have permanently severed something as school attendance plummets and keeps dropping. And many people highly critical of the U.S. public school system are basically saying amen to this because that school system, like the legacy media here, and of course, much of this is around the world, has been a major instigator in turning education into indoctrination. And that became much more amplified during COVID. Here's a little bit of data that'll round out today's report. Across the country, students have been absent at record rates since the schools reopened during the pandemic. More than a quarter of students missed at least 10% of the 2021-2022 school year, making them chronically absent. According to the most recent data available, before the pandemic, only 15% of students missed that much school. All told, an estimated 6.5 million additional students became chronically absent, according to the data, which was compiled by Stanford University education professor Tom Dee in partnership with the Associated Press. Of course, there's the AP Wire service showing its involvement in things that maybe it shouldn't be involved in necessarily. Taken together, the data from 40 states and Washington, D.C. provide the most comprehensive accounting of absenteeism nationwide. Absences were more prevalent, they claim, among Latino, Black, and low-income students, according to Dee's analysis. The absences come on top of the time students missed during school closures and pandemic disruptions. They cost crucial classroom time as schools work to recover from massive learning setbacks. Well, I've covered a little bit about how they try to teach reading, the very wrongful and questionable ways they try to teach reading, what they call the new math. So massive learning setbacks are hardly the fault of COVID and school closures. They're largely the fault of school policies that have been using wrong-headed ways to teach fundamentals for a long time. And all the closures did was exacerbate that. And now, as we've read elsewhere, and as I've reported on UK Column before, when the pandemic happened, a lot of parents, sometimes for the first time, saw the actual curriculum their students were using from the schools, and they were shocked. Not only was it unworkable, but it often had to do with diversity, exclusion, equity, things like that, the whole woke agenda, the LGBTQ indoctrination, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're really seeing is the public school system, at least in the States, coming apart. And COVID did us an ironic favor in taking the mask off that system. And now maybe you might say the market will correct itself as more and more people who never before considered homeschooling might now consider it. And that will actually accent, you might say, the freedom movement in the United States that the doctrine of the lesser magistrates is kind of taking the lead on. So all told, this is good news, even though it's a bumpy road along the way.
Okay, thank you, Mark.